The last train of the night screeched into the station with an echo that rattled the empty platforms like a dying animal. Its windows were black mirrors, reflecting only the flickering tube lights above. Ion stepped inside, dragging his tired body after a long day of travel. The train should have been crowded at that hour, but every carriage he peeked into was strangely deserted. As the doors hissed shut, sealing him in, he felt a strange pressure settle over his chest, like the night itself had followed him inside. He chose a seat beside the window. The fabric smelled old, damp, and unfamiliar, as if no one had sat in it for years. The lights buzzed, flickered, and then stabilized into a sickly yellow glow. Outside, the platform faded into darkness, swallowed by the tunnel ahead. The train lurched forward with a sudden jolt. For the first few minutes, the journey was eerily silent. No announcements, no engine hum, no distant chatter. Only the faint sound of metal groaning, as if the train resented being forced to move. Ion distracted himself by scrolling through his phone. But the screen kept glitching, turning static for a second, then returning to normal. The signal bars were gone completely. He glanced around again. Every seat was empty, yet he felt observed, as if someone sat just behind him, leaning close, waiting for him to turn around. He didn't. A few minutes later, the overhead lights flickered violently and then dimmed. Shadows stretched unnaturally along the floor, writhing like living things. The train slowed and stopped in the middle of a long underground tunnel. No station, no signboards, no reason. A sudden thump echoed from the other end of the carriage. Ion's breath froze. Another thump, louder, closer. Heavy footsteps dragging across the metallic floor. His hands clenched the seat. He forced himself to look toward the far door. Something stood there. At first he thought it was a person, tall, thin, wearing an old uniform that looked like a station guard's, but its head was wrong, tilted crooked like it had been screwed onto the neck at an incorrect angle. The figure twitched, jerking in tiny movements, as if its bones didn't fit inside the skin properly. It's as if those hollow pits could be called ice were fixed straight at him. Ion tried to stand, but his legs trembled with useless fear. He swallowed hard and pressed the emergency call button beside his seat. The button beeped, but no voice responded. Instead, the train lights blinked off completely. In the pitch darkness, the footsteps started again, slow, steady, coming toward him. He fumbled for his phone, turning on the flashlight. The narrow beam cut through the shadows just in time to reveal nothing. The figure had vanished. Ion's heart hammered wildly. He shone the light around the carriage, but the aisle was empty. He stood slowly, gripping the phone like a weapon, and walked backward toward the end of the carriage. Then he heard breathing behind him, cold, wet, close. He spun around and came face to face with the figure, now inches away. Its twisted head leaned toward him. Its mouth hung open unnaturally wide, like a cracked porcelain mask revealing darkness within. From its throat came a whispering sound, dry and broken, like wind passing through a graveyard. "You shouldn't be here." Ion screamed and ran toward the next carriage. The door wouldn't open. He slammed the button again and again. Behind him, the creature's bones clicked as it followed. Finally, the door slid open and he leaped through, slamming it shut. But the moment he turned, his breath left him. The next carriage was full. Rows of passengers sat silently, but their faces were blank. No eyes, no mouths, just smooth, pale skin stretched over their skulls. Their heads slowly turned toward him in perfect unison. The train jerked forward violently, throwing Ion onto the floor. Lights began flashing red. A distorted announcement crackled overhead. Next stop. The last stop. The eyeless passengers stood simultaneously. Ion staggered to his feet, searching desperately for a way out, but every door was locked. The train accelerated faster and faster, the outside world turning into a smear of black. The red light strobed, illuminating the creatures inching closer, their featureless faces bending as if melting. He pressed against the window, trying to break it, but the glass pulsed like living skin under his fists. The train screeched, then abruptly stopped. The doors slid open. Cold fog poured inside, carrying 1,000 whispering voices. Ion felt hands, cold, boneless hands, grip his shoulders from behind. By the time the fog cleared, the carriage was empty again, and the next passenger to board the midnight train would see him sitting there, staring blankly ahead, waiting for them.